Do 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 no 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 do do. All right, let's take this guy down. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our Q&A. We are going to be doing things a little bit different than before. We were streaming on Facebook Live the last few times, but when you do an export of that video, it looks like crap. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. If you're just seeing this, because there is going to be a slight delay, so if you ask a question, just bear with us.
Yes.
And I guess without that, we'll go ahead and get into the preset questions. So the first part of this Q&A is going to be non-spoilers. So, yeah. And then we'll let everybody know when the spoiler questions are going to pop up.
Yes.
All right.
So first question comes from Waylon McKenzie. Are there any other bands that have started a podcast that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I know of either.
I would say that there's probably a few bands out there that I've heard, like, come check out our podcast where we're going to be talking about our tour and, like, what we went through. But even then, most of those people are just guests on, like, musician podcast, typically. So without tooting our own horn, I would say that we're probably the first podcast to go from
metal
band to audio drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some bands out there that, again, have their own podcast about, like, what they do as a band. But, I mean, we literally did a complete 360 or 180. 360 with a full circle. Yeah, 180.
That'd be like, we're a band now.
Yeah. So, and there's a ton of stuff out there, I think, through Scary Dad and a few other places. You know, I always say that we've gone into the story about going from band to podcast a bunch of times, and I think that's because we have done it a lot on other people's shows.
Yes.
But I don't know if there's any, like, definitive ICE episode or something about us actually doing it. So it might be something we produce in the future. There are a lot of avenues out there, though, if you go through our history and our links. But essentially, the long short of it is that we were a metal band, and we created a podcast, an audio drama to promote the band, and then the podcast ended up doing a lot better than the band, so we had to make a decision to do one or the other, and we went podcast.
Yeah.
So, good question, Waylon. All right, what's the next one? Live, no cutscenes.
Ooh, don't mess up, Amy.
Yeah, don't mess up,
Rose asks, what should we expect from the new podcast you're working on?
Oh, well, I guess I can, let's see here.
Like I should duck.
Oh. So you might have seen this a few times, but if we block out the word Sirenicide,
Yeah, pretend like it's not there.
yeah, that's gonna be the banner logo for the podcast, and it is going to be an anthology horror podcast.
Yes.
Set in the Sirenicide universe, but not necessarily needed to enjoy the stories.
So a lot of, like, the questions we've had on past Q&As about, like, the vampire lore and how do they work in our universe and things like that can definitely be explored and answered in that.
Can it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, got my work cut out for me.
Yeah, you do.
No, and we're actually going to be opening up public submission forms. So unlike the Sirenicide serialized drama, where all of it was written in-house except for 2 stories, right? 2? Yes.
Yes.
Katie Burrs and Victor King's.
Yes.
Everything else was written by us.
Yes.
So yeah, this is going to allow people to submit, whatever they want, and we'll go through and we'll vet the stories and make sure they fit, like, our mythos, and then but we'll also workshop with authors that way. We'll fix this and this and we'll put it on the show. They're gonna be very short story formats too, so you don't have to worry about, like, sticking around next week to figure out what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be basically you press play, and by the end of that audio file playing in your ears, you know the whole tale. We're gonna still try to keep up with individual artwork for each episode, but we'll see how the workload goes if we can to do that. But other than that, it should be the same quality you're used to from the horror drama. or the audio drama. I apologize if you felt like an AC is blowing. We're using the laptop right now for these, and it is not loving our streaming software because we need more fans on YouTube. Because if that's the case, then we can stream for our mobile cameras. But right now, it still makes us use a streaming software, or it won't let us stream live anyway. All right. So I think our next questions are what, spoiler?
Yes.
So I got this guy here. What? All the little effects I usually do in Final Cut. I'm just gonna hold a laptop up now. Even I can flip it and it flips around. Anyway, spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled on any of Sirenicide,
bye.
Thank you for joining our stream, and yeah, deuces. All right.
So first question for the spoiler segment comes from Bill Armentrout.
Oh, Billiam.
Is there anything left of Matthew Finnis, or is Joey all that's left? And will his newfound leadership go to his head?
I think there's a few questions asked about Joey's leadership stuff this week. So let's go ahead and go through a few of those.
Okay, and Rose asked about Joey. Joey seems to have taken leadership quite easily. He's not going to let it go to his head, right? And then Brandon says, could Joey become corrupt by the power of Sirenicide?
So I feel kind of bad. Like, I don't know if I wrote this the wrong way. I didn't mean for their table conversation for him when Harper's like, who's gonna lead it? You?
He's like, me.
And he just like shifts into his dead state and he's like, me! That doesn't mean he's like some egotistical guy, and it might have come, I mean, obviously it came across that way because that's 3 questions in a row about it.
Or
so
they're just worried they don't want like sweet Joey to like turn all evil.
So I guess in regards to, I think it was Brandon's question, is Matthew Finnis still in there kind of, or is there any of him
that
left?
was Bill.
That was Bill. Okay, yes. I even think you'll see there's some shout outs to Matthew Finnis lines this season. I don't know which ones have come and gone, but they're not really spoilers. But there's one where he's like, my damn luck.
Yeah.
Which is a callback to him walking up to Blackjack's house and it stops raining just as he gets there. So, I mean, no, I really do believe that he feels that. He's still like mad. I don't think it's like a Darth Vader Anakin thing where, I mean, he kind of told Harper way early in the season. Harper's like, you don't believe it, that, you know, so that guy's truly gone. And he's like, yeah, but it's not in a way of like, I destroyed him. You know, it's not, you know, he was weak. It's not that dynamic at all. I think he just sees as that person passed away, that they're gone. And I've assumed my role as a Sirenicide lieutenant, name and all, and I'm going to, you know, to do this. Sorry, YouTube just popped up with some stuff. So, hey, if there's anything wrong with the stream, we do have the chat up here. You can ask questions and stuff like that. And also, if they're like, hey, y'all keep going, hurt, good, gurt, 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 gurt. So, if that's the case, we apologize.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
We try.
All right. Yeah, but no. And to the other 2 questions, no, I don't think it's going to his head. I think he just wants to convey to Trinity and all the other people from the mayor's team that, no, I can lead this.
Yeah.
It's not I'm going to do this. This is mine now thing as much as don't worry. Just because Johnny's gone doesn't mean we can't still do this.
I think he's stepping into the role because he feels like he has to. Like, it's not a role that he would have chosen to have. Like, if Johnny would have been there, he would have, like, never stepped into being Mr. Leader. He was always okay with, I guess, kind of being, like, a co-captain or something along those lines. Like, he wants the betterment of the group and the betterment of the people, so he's going to step up and lead because who else is stepping up to do it?
Correct. And the other thing to keep in mind here on that stuff is he didn't get to, like, this is no secret, this was going to be a 5-season show, but due to a lot of, obviously, we got a lot of financial support and we're thankful for it. It's just not the amount we thought we would have by this point. So we shortened the seasons down from 5 to 4.
Yes.
And really, you can't tell in most of it, except for little things like that in the original season 4 idea that this was going to be the Yoda Luke moment for a whole season with Johnny and Joey,
Mhm.
and that kind of got shortened, and you can tell here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the training session with them back in 9, I think it was.
Yes, I think so.
But yeah, I mean, or 8, I don't know what it was. But
Yeah.
no, he's not like corrupted by Cyrenicides, like the Mickeys and the Jimmies. Like his mind's not going there. If that's what you're worried about, him becoming some crazy, like I'll destroy it all, aha, cackling villain kind of guy.
Got all the power.
Joey is a gray character, like a lot of the characters, but he's definitely a lot lighter gray than darker gray.
Most definitely.
Cool. I think we nailed those 3 questions. Hopefully, if not,
Let
ask
us
them
know.
again.
Okay. So Maya asks, are people showing up to the Bella Vita to actually be scarred, or do you think number of the public may actually just be taking the unveiling to set sights on Cyrenicide or try and retaliate?
That's a really good question. When I first read through that earlier, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything on the chat. By the way, sorry,
It's okay.
I'm not zoning out.
She goes into, are we expecting a more warm outcome to the situation than we'll actually see?
Sorry. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure I can see that. My bad. What? What was the last part?
Are we expecting a more warm outcome to this situation than we'll actually see?
Well, for part of that question, I gotta say you're gonna have to stick around because some of
Yes.
it's spoiler. I will say
Retaliating?
to take in the sights of Cyrenicide. I mean, I think some of them might show up just to do that. I don't know about the retaliation part because if the mythos is correct, going there to attack these fools seems like the last thing that you could do.
Yeah.
Or would do. I think they said in another episode, or was it this episode, about the Sirena Hounds patrolling on each floor and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
So I think that they are semi-worried about not just their people might get out of line, but the public might also do what you're talking about. So they've taken certain precautions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, Joey and Marcella, they just don't care. As long as we get people scarred and we protect them, we'll take the good with the bad. But yeah, you'd be one stone cold idiot. Even Doc can't show up to the Bella Vita and attack it without getting choked out or getting his henchmen choked off a roof. So if you're Joe Blow with your faux military gear or you're some Antifa guy, show up and start attacking and like fight the powers and all that kind of, you're gonna get your ass kicked. These guys are not playing around. They got scars that glow.
I mean, I think most of the people that are showing up purely out of fear and uncertainty. So I don't know if I would necessarily say it's a warm outcome, as much as it is just fear-based and people aren't sure what's going on or what to do.
People are scared, Marcella. Isn't that what Joey did?
Yeah.
That'd be funny. She's like, you won't believe it. There's like over 100 people out there already. And they all have pitchforks and torches.
Yeah.
Kill the beast. Kill the beast.
That's all I can think of, too.
All right.
Rose goes on to ask, seems like we're getting a lot of people at the Bella Vita. What will happen to the children and elderly if they can't receive the scarring?
Then they're going to have to take Synthesine.
Yes.
I think that's going to be their only alternative. But hopefully, like, if it's your elderly grandparents and then you got, like, a toddler, hopefully there's, like, your uncle or an aunt or somebody that's, like, at least between the ages of, 15 and 60 that are semi-healthy, and they can take the scarring, and they'll be able to protect the ones that can't. That doesn't mean in the future they can't get it later, post-anathema.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, but Synthesine seems like at that point... not Synthesine, I'm sorry. The CC Repealer. It's got Synthesine compounds in it. Synthesine is produced by our bad guys, obviously, this miracle drug. But that's not completely confirmed yet, but we got a pretty big hunch on it. Laughlin's very angry at this Ashworth International company.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I mean, I still think it's going to, even if they take Laughlin's cure for the elderly, maybe not so much the elderly, but the children, like we seen Ben in episode 2 of season 4. So we're not sure how that's going to evolve with kids, if it will with anything. They're just saying that the I guess adults who can handle the scarring, it gives them that immediate protection and power that they could fight back and not just be helpless.
I think that's about right. Oh, we got some live chat here. Not so much attack, but retaliate in some non-violent way. Oh, look
like
at
protest out there.
Yeah. Okay, I got
signs.
you. No, then they'll just we'll bust out the top of the Bella Vita with some machine guns.
No.
And
They'll
just
defeat the whole purpose of
mowing
what they're
down
doing.
protesters. Like, we're not some branch of government. We don't gotta follow these laws. Joking. Completely joking. God, I would hope people aren't that dense, but think about the world we live in. You can see, like, the end of the world is about to happen here, people. And they're like, I don't care. I'm going to go down there because I know one of them fuckers killed my grandma like 7 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm going to show them that I am not happy with the fact that they are real and that they exist. And now they're trying to be our friend. That's pretty good, though.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess there could be, like,
nonviolent
protesting and stuff like
or
that out there.
It could be something that the Dark Elite has put together to, like, go out there and, like, discourage people from going in. Alright. Alright, what's the next
It's
question?
possible. From Maya. How willing will the public be to give Dr. Laughlin's drug now? Even with current evidence to the contrary, the media kind of smeared this perceived credibility. Will people really want to try it after? Synthesine has allegedly cured so many people.
That's true. There's nothing really to say that Synthesine, other than what's coming from Laughlin and stuff, like, don't take this Synthesine mess.
Well, it's not going to be offered in Morstan at all, is what the mayor said in his speech for that. So they're going to have to travel.
But I mean, that makes sense too, because that would spark retaliation. So if this thing's working for every state and country across the world, how come we can't have it here? Because we got to take this stuff from this, like, mysterious criminal organization and gets cut open, or we have to go with this odd doctor that, you know, gets some blue goo injected in us, kind of thing. So I don't know. I think a smear campaign could, you know, detract from Cybernicide and Laughlin's attendances at both of their avenues of curing.
I mean, I never pictured, like, all of Morstan lining up to get either or. I mean, I think it's a good portion of people just out of pure fear and, like, well, let's do this because what else are we going to do? But I don't think there's going to be, like, it's not even half the pop. I don't know.
There's over 4 million people just in the urban areas of Morstan. So, just the fact that a few hundred showed up outside the Bella Vita is good, but, I mean, that's a fraction of it.
I know, it's like a pin drop.
Nothing. So, okay. Alright.
So, next question is from Robert Rogers. Is the secret ingredient in Synthesine vampire blood?
I'm sure there's some, like, synthesized elements of vampire blood within it. But there wouldn't be too much because they're not. The whole point of vampire blood, when it comes to the scarring of the acolytes, is a preservative. So we don't exactly know how Synthesine is going to hurt the public. I don't think. I don't know if we've gone into that.
We haven't.
You know, so, or if it will, but I really doubt the Dark Elite and Doc's goal is to make the public where they can't be photographed or videotaped, or make them impervious to disease and live longer.
Yeah, because they're,
Now, that being said, there's a lot of elements of vampire blood that make you sick. You know, like when you first transform and all that. So they might have pulled some of that out of it. That way, if they do trigger something with this weird drug, it would be a violent shift.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, stay tuned.
Brandon asks, Does Ambrielle choose to appear as a child, or is she one?
Well, before I answer Brandon's question, I just want to say if you haven't checked out Brandon's podcast, Codename Blank, it is a kid-friendly, very, very intelligently written, witty-ass, like, detective podcast where this detective doesn't have a memory. Howard Blank's his name. And his crime-fighting partner is a giant taco. It is off the wall, like Cartoon Network style, but not like, I mean, it's, again, like, you can listen to it with your kids. There's no cussing in it. There's a few innuendos thrown in here and there, but that are just funny, like no worse than anything Disney does.
No.
So check out Brandon's podcast, Codename Blank, Spotify and every podcast streamer thing. And what was the question? Does Ambrielle choose to appear as a child, or is she one? That is open to interpretation. We've never really brought that into the lore that much.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if I had to answer it, like, I would say that she's ethereal, and maybe in order to be physical, it's a lot less work to obtain the physical sustenance, like food and those kind of things, into that small of a form than it would be to materialize as like a full-fledged adult.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of, because when you're 1/3 the size of an adult, you're a lot less inconspicuous. You can get away with a lot more things, like, what are you doing in here, little girl? Versus, you know, some full-grown woman, like, what are you doing in here, lady? You know, I mean, throw the cuffs on you. So I think that a lot of it's tactical as much as just easier to shift in and out of the ethereal plane. I don't know, she wrote the story, not me. I just had to build upon it. They are the guardian angels, though.
Yes.
We have classified that. This is brought to you by Diet Coke. Check out Diet Coke at Strawberry
Oh
Diet
my goodness.
Coke.
And moving on.
It's our big sponsorship of the episode.
Another one from Brandon. Is the life engine being turned off? Is the life engine being turned off the anathema? Oh, is the anathema. Sorry.
No. I mean, we're going to go into a lot of that towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
So I won't answer, but it is not.
He just wants to know, like, every week he has, like, a question in there about, is this the anathema? Okay, now, is this the anathema?
No, it's not the anathema, but it's definitely a precaution from the Ark Holy Realm to make sure that they have preparations for said anathema messing with their world, I guess. I don't want to go too much deeper. Stay tuned to.
Stay tuned, part
As
2.
well. All right.
That's it. That was our last question.
That's the last question? Okay. Well, thanks everybody for popping into the Q&A. I do like this live format. For one, it's a whole lot less editing work, which doesn't suck up our whole Sunday.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hopefully we can get up to, I think it's 1,000 YouTube followers to be able to stream without using a streaming software on YouTube. We're just fortunate enough that our YouTube channel was created, because now you gotta have like 150, I think, subscribers or 100 subscribers where you can have a custom URL.
Yeah.
But I created Cybernicide YouTube like a decade ago,
Before that.
so you can still go to youtube.com/Cybernicide. Fuck you, YouTube. Ah! Not safe for children. I clicked that box. Anyway, you can't come sue me if you're a kid watching this. You're not supposed to be. Go listen to Codename Blank. That's safe. But yeah, if we get up to that, we can have a little bit better streaming setup for this. Just because Facebook streaming setup, you can stream in HD on Facebook, but to export it, it only exports in standard. Unless somebody knows of a different way to do that, then whatever. I mean, obviously I can record and then re-upload all of this, but that's the same amount of work as just editing on live recording. Plus a little interaction we have with Maya here, and then once we start scheduling these, maybe a little bit better. But I think we're going to be going to, unless you guys say otherwise, probably the live streaming format for these videos. I think it's funner.
Yeah.
And you get to see our quirks in between takes that usually get cut out by Diet Coke drinking. All right. Well, we don't want to hit the 30-minute mark, though, because we still try to keep these in our 25 minutes, and we're getting pretty close to that. So, you got anything else?
That's it.
All right, guys. We got season 4, episode 12. and it's a doozy. It's a big deal. Big deal. That's all I'm gonna say. Enjoy it, guys.
Anticipation.
Star Wars is coming this month too. All right. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know if it's done.